I call the honourable member Andrew Williams. Nice haircut.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. A bit like your own one. Mr. Speaker, I take a call on behalf of New Zealand First, and in this instance we have determined that we will support the Electricity Renewable Preference Amendment Bill through its first reading and hope that it does go to Select Committee. We do so on the basis that we feel such an important subject should be given the opportunity for New Zealanders to have input on and to have a good national debate about this particular subject. While we acknowledge the noble intent of this bill, we do still have serious reservations about its practicability. This bill would reinstate a 10-year ban on new coal or gas-fired baseload power generation. Such a ban existed briefly under the previous Labour government. It has since been repealed by this House. New Zealand First reluctantly supported the original ban as part of an agreement we reached with the Labour government in 2008 in respect of the emissions trading scheme. With the benefit of hindsight, New Zealand First acknowledges the problems that ban created. First of all, it put in jeopardy the security of supply. On average, 1/3 of our nation's electricity generation comes from thermal power. During the winter months, thermal generation can be as high as 50%. If it weren't for pre-existing baseload gas and coal-fired thermal power stations, such as at Huntly and New Plymouth, we could be at crisis point. Second of all, it had an adverse effect on oil and gas exploration. Unlike the Greens, New Zealand First isn't anti-oil and isn't anti-gas. We acknowledge the role it has to play in a modern economy. Of course, there must be restrictions on where and how drilling can take place, and it must be done in a sustainable, environmentally friendly way. These regulations need to be strengthened, not weakened. The last thing we want is our own Gulf of Mexico situation. However, that being said, oil and gas sector provide enormous opportunities for employment and regional development in all parts of New Zealand potentially. In Taranaki alone, the industry contributes $1.8 billion in GDP and 10,000 jobs. Possible new ventures in Northland and the East Coast could provide similar rewards. The reinstitution of this ban could put in jeopardy any future discovery and development projects. Finally, Mr. Speaker, we do have some concerns that this bill, if it was to go through, could actually increase dependence on the use of backup coal generation by banning new generation gas capacity. Gas, while not 100% clean, is a lot cleaner than coal. Surely it is better to use gas than to have no power at all, which is the dilemma we face when considering this bill. New Zealand First would rather choose the lesser of two evils than go back to the Stone Age, which is where this bill could take us if the overall situation is not addressed. In this respect, Mr. Speaker, New Zealand First also has a policy that in a future government we would be seeking to merge all the state-owned enterprise power generators, the state-owned enterprise current ones such as Meridian and Genesis, move them into one single entity so that the security of supply and the security of future provision of energy sources would be under the one banner and controlled from one source rather than it being fragmented as it is today. We want to encourage, however, Mr. Speaker, the greater use of cleaner, greener, more sustainable energy, and New Zealand First certainly does support all endeavours to secure other alternate additional means of providing energy to New Zealand industry and homes. However, let's allow democracy to take its course. We feel this is a good argument and it is worthy of being considered by the public of New Zealand. We are in favour of it going to Select Committee so that the people of New Zealand can have their say on this important subject. It is a right of every New Zealander to have access to reliable power, gas and energy, and in that respect we support this to Select Committee for consideration.
I call the honourable member